move through different areas, and we'll try to all stay together as we go through. But thank y'all so much for being here today. We're always excited to show off our program, so we're thrilled that so many of you cared to come today. So thank you so much. I'm Lou Burdett, president of King's Home. Jamie Aiken-Brandt Johnson is the director of Prodigal Pottery from day one and still today. So, and Catherine's here, and Trenda, and Jim, the rest of our team. So please catch us along the way so that you can meet the whole team as we go through. Let me open this in prayer. Lord Jesus, thank you so much for Giving Hearts. Thank you for 100 shares. Thank you for the amazing things that you do through Prodigal Pottery. Thank you for the moms that are here that work so hard and give so much and make beautiful pottery. So, Lord, let your light shine brightly today. And we just pray favor over this time. Bless this time. And just guide us all the way through. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. All right, so this is the entrance, and even in walking in, you can see that we need help. We're bursting at the seams, even though we just moved into this building about this time last year, a little before, and so we've been in here for a year, so we're able to make the transition in sort of bare bones, and there's a lot of work left to be done to make Prodigal Pottery as efficient as it can be and have as many jobs for women as we can have. As we mentioned in our presentation a couple of weeks ago, that not only do we serve King's Home moms that live across the street in the big house we call in that direction when you came in, if you noticed, also well house women and love ladies. And so we want to grow that, we want to expand that, we want to provide more jobs. So since we've been in existence since 2014, all the money that is made from making this beautiful handmade pottery that you will see goes back into the program to provide jobs for moms and in a safe, loving, nurturing environment. And so that's what we've been doing all these years. So we want to serve more moms, and we want to be efficient too in providing great quality for the people that want to buy Prodigal Pottery, and we're struggling mightily at that point right now, and just, how do you take that next step and do all the things that we need to do to be efficient and provide more jobs. Like just last week, Jamie got a 10,000 piece order from a ministry, and that's a really cool thing about Prodigal Pottery. A lot of our accounts are ministry related. And so Jamie can talk more about that. We've got a 10,000 piece order from a ministry in Noonan, Georgia. You see a couple of, here's some samples. These were samples of what they have approved. This is unpainted disc. But these are, so they're doing 10,000 pieces of 3 different designs. Well, for us to be able to pull that off by August 1st, pull that off by August 1st, we need a lot of help. To be able to do that. But that's exciting.
One of our biggest things is, I'm sorry, I'm keeping my mask on. I have a little cold and I don't want to get anybody sick. I've got a test for COVID, so I promise I'm COVID free. I would not be here, but I just want you to know I'll keep this on. But that's one of our biggest things is efficiency is so important, and it's hard to understand. Why would it be so important to be so efficient, to have more kilns and to have more space? And it's really just because in order to have more women, if we sell more quantity of pieces quicker and more efficiently, then we're going to have enough revenue to hire more women. Otherwise, we're just going to have to stay at the same level, and that's our goal and our desire is always to hire more women. So it's not that we care about selling thousands and thousands of pieces of pottery. We do, but we do to the end that we are able to hire more women. Yeah. So that's our ultimate heart and goal behind all this.
And obviously, we're a nonprofit, so we're not interested in necessarily making money, although I do want the program to be sustainable and pay its way. And we've not ever been able to do that so far because our first goal has always been to provide the jobs for moms. And the cool thing about it is, particularly at King's Home, you know, you heard me say we're not a hangout program. I mean, moms, any mom, when they come to King's Home, has to set goals the first couple of weeks that they're with us. They don't have to work in Prodigal Pottery, it's just an option, but they do have to do something. They have to be in job training, and continuing education. As you've heard me say, no little girl's dream is to grow up and live at Hannah Home, but we want to stand in the gap with all of you. You know, there's not anybody here that hasn't needed help along the way in life, right? We've all needed help along the way. And
How many do you employ here?
Today,
So today we have 12, but our goal is, you know, we would love to have 15, we'd love to have 20, we'd love to have 25, but again, space is limited, and then it's also, if we don't, like, this huge order is an awesome gift. 10,000 pieces is huge for us. And we need more women to be able to produce it, but we also need to be able to pay them. So that's why efficiency is so important, because if we can get it done quicker, get things out faster, have more kiln capacity, and on a daily basis are able to produce more and have a better functioning environment, then we have the freedom to be able to hire more and more women. And honestly, we still do. There's not, you know, if there's a moment where it's like, there's this woman that's coming to us and needs a job, but we don't have enough work, I figure out work. I figure out things to do. And so the goal is always to be able to, regardless if a woman comes here and wants a job, that we provide that for her.
and we've had chain interest, retail chain interest in Prodigal Pottery, but you know, unless we can get efficient, turn it over much faster, the orders, you know, we can't service a chain, because if a chain places an order, they want it guaranteed, it's gotta be 2 weeks, or, you know, whatever the due date is. A lot of our wholesale accounts, because we're a nonprofit, because they know what we do, you know, give us a lot of grace on what that ship date might be. They'll give us extra time. Oh, if it takes 3 weeks, that's okay. Or if it takes a month, sometimes maybe even longer, you know, they're okay with that, but other folks aren't. You know, even this ministry.
The stuff we know is, you know, if you can see on where we sell all of our pieces, how long our turnaround is at that moment. You know, if it's crazy Christmas time and we say our turnaround is more stability for them, more opportunity for them.
Right.
How many kilns do y'all have?
Accounts, we wholesale.
No, I'm sorry, kilns.
Kilns, oh, I'm sorry, we have,
Look in.
yeah, we can come in here.
Yeah.
So we have 3 functioning, one is, died and we're gonna need to revive it. One is our original kiln that we were donated, that is over,
2000.
I mean, it's probably 15 years old. And the thing about kilns is they normally last only 5 years. So this one is limping along. Very limpy. And so, as you can see, I mean, we've done as much love to it as we can, but it's on black ledge. The other one over there is our newest kiln, but, again, we're firing these on a nightly basis, and really that's not good for kilns. They need to have time to rest, but we don't have an option, because we have so much product and we have so many pieces going out all the time that we're having to fire these things every night, and it's kind of killing them. So one more, our desire is, you know, over back where y'all are seeing, we can have another large front-loading kiln that are, you know, these are $15,000, so they're big, expensive, nice pieces of equipment. But in order to help them survive longer, we really need more pieces, more kilns. So these are our few. And again, this is the one that was donated to us to start the program. This is like the start of the whole program, which is, you know, fun to get to show off. And we've made it survive. Trust me, the amount of times we've had an electrician in here working on stuff has been crazy. But that other one is our newest one, and then.
But seriously, that one could die any day.
It has died.
It has died. It's died multiple deaths.
It's died a lot of deaths.
Right.
We just somehow keep it
With-
limping along. So, yeah.
How much does your kiln cost?
These front loading kilns are 15,000. So they're a pretty penny, but I mean, it's,
Curious about the energy.
yeah, they put off a whole lot.
See that big electrical box there? That was, you know, they had to bring in extra service when we built. So part of the way that we were able to transition here was building really what ended up being this light industrial building that we're standing in right here that's new. And we never dreamed that we would have to meet all the codes that we did, because really, all we need is a dried-in building. We don't need anything other than that for kilns, and many operations don't have, but in Shelby County, they did not agree with that approach, and so we ended up with a very expensive light industrial building. Thankfully, paid for by a donor, so that's how we were able to get in this space, but we weren't able to finish out, a lot of the other things, like needing an additional kiln. This one's gonna die any day. We couldn't finish, the shipping and receiving that we need over on this part. And even some of the electrical adjustments that we'd have to make to be able to pull in it, because there's no pad out here. So now, when Jamie gets, we have to load a transfer truck or unload a transfer truck for getting disc in or whatever supplies it might be, it's all done out front where y'all came in by hand.
We get 2,000-pound shipments of clay on a monthly basis, sometimes more.
Yeah.
And these women, like, whenever it's clay day, they're like, why did I come to work today? Why didn't you tell me it was delivery day? Because they have to individually pick up 50-pound boxes and carry them, all the way down the hallway. So being able to receive those things right here on this concrete pad, it's right here accessible for them, which is, it would be, one, that's efficiency too, because it'll take 2 hours to unload 2,000 pounds of clay off of a truck. Or when we get all of our bisque pottery, it's a lot of deliveries we receive. So having a functioning delivery location, receiving and shipping would be really huge for us. It would help us tremendously.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
Can you, explain the process of the kiln, because a lot of them might not know what this
Yeah,
means
absolutely.
and
So
glazes.
we're gonna do a demonstration from start to finish of how we make our pottery from the very, second that we get the wet clay all the way through to the pieces completely glazed and ready to be sent out to people. But I will go ahead and tell you that all these kilns, we fire every piece of pottery twice. So a piece is made, handmade, and then it dries into what is called greenware, where it is not wet and flexible anymore, it's dry. And then it goes into the kiln and it comes out like this, which is bisque, bisque. And it's hardened, and this is the stage that you would then glaze it. And so all the pieces go in for the bisque firing. They fire for 14 hours, and they get up to about 2,000 degrees, so we fire overnight. And when we come in here, normally it's very hot. Fortunately, y'all came on a Monday, so it's not 115 degrees in here, but normally it's 150 degrees in here. So we then unload all of this, and we have a team of women who paint it all. So we've got the team of women who make the pottery, then we have the team of women who paint the pottery, and so on and so forth. So after the pottery comes out in bisque, it's then painted, and it goes back in the kiln for a second firing, which is a glaze firing. It also goes up to 2,000 degrees. It fires a little less, probably 8 to 10 hours, and it comes out glazed like this. So we have 8 different glaze colors that we use, and the women know them all. They know like the back of their hand.
I didn't know if you're losing your.
Oh, no, can you tell them to lose my voice? No, I can make it.
She can.
I got it.
Need some water?
No, I'm fine, thank you. So anyway, that's the process, and then once the pieces are done from here, we have a few more little processes we'll show you down at the end, and then they're ready to be sold and shipped out. So it's a long process.
It's a long process, and, this is just one method of stacking a kiln, loading a kiln. Sometimes it's all the way to the top.
This is
and
half
can
unloaded,
take-
so you
yeah.
can, normally it's all the
And
way.
can take, how long to load a full kiln if you were trying to stack?
2 or 3 hours, yeah.
Yeah. 2 or 3 hours to stack it in efficiently so that, we can get as much in and as much out. But still, the preference would be, most operations don't use a kiln every day. We have to use a kiln every day. We don't have a choice just because, we don't have.
It's a demand,
Yeah, we don't have enough kilns to be able not to, and that's why this one's, about to die. But, God's been great, cause, this one's lasted
Yeah.
longer than anybody ever dreamed.
It sure has, yeah.
You wanna go to the,
Yeah, does anybody have any other questions in here, or we can go ahead and move in? And I have, my wholesale manager, Jenna, who's awesome, she is a graduate of the program of King's Home. she is gonna get to show you guys from start to finish how to make a piece, and so if y'all have questions along the way, she's happy to answer, or I'm happy to answer any of
And
them.
Jenna's gonna also share a little bit of her testimony at the end also, so
Yeah.
that'll be a treat.
So, alright, so we can walk in here. It's kind of half and half, so we do have 12 that work here, but it's not always all 12 at once. But, this is our awesome team here. And, Jenna is right here. And Jenna's been here for almost 3 years with us. And she's amazing, and she's gonna get to show you guys how we make a piece from start to finish. So, we're gonna do a soap dish, because it's probably our most popular piece. And we'll go from there.
All right. So all the clay comes in these bags and they are heavy. First we do is we gotta take the garrote and we get a good chunk, if I can get it. And I'm gonna use the slab roller.
I wouldn't say you do that, let's just so we don't.
Okay.
So we have something called a slab roller in there that will mush it real thin for you, which is nice, but it's kind of hard to go all the way back in there and then come back in here.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
most of the time we'll get it thinner and then we'll go from there, but.
Yeah. So just have to work it out.
So in the early days, we didn't have a slab roller in the early days that's out front, so we did every piece by hand, just like this. Slab roller allows, to do a lot more pieces a day, any kind of piece, but especially if it's, smaller pieces like this, and you can roll out a big slab, then, the cookie cutter, approach that we use to a lot of the items, it just goes so much faster. So, in the old days, it'd take how long to make, 100 crosses, and with a slab roller, what's the difference?
I mean, I think it's probably, I don't know, what do y'all think could have done it? Half the time?
Yes.
Probably half the time.
Yeah,
So that's a huge help. We'd love to get another slab roller at some point, but
yeah.
it's not our priority list right now, but, it's just, we get really strong arms here.
And Jenna does CrossFit, Chad.
I know, and so does Nicole. I mean, we got CrossFitters and they're buff because pottery and CrossFit.
Yeah,
so
I need to do better.
both things.
And so what we do is have to roll it out to the right consistency and thickness, because everything, like the pendants they're thin, they go on the mug, so they have to be a lot thinner, as where a soap dish needs to be a good thickness to be sturdy. So you usually have to roll it out.
That nice medium, not too thick, not too thin.
Yeah.
And it takes some time to figure out, like, it takes some time for women to figure out, but something that we, from the very beginning, something that I realized, y'all, I'm sorry about my voice. I promise I'm fine, I just, is that, the wheel. Most people know pottery, they know about like ghosts, they're on the wheel and
We have a wheel.
We do. But the wheel takes, I have a minor in ceramics, and it took me a year to learn the wheel when I was a full-time art major. And to teach that to these women who are already coming from a difficult position, and then you throw them into this thing that they're not gonna feel successful at very quickly. They're gonna feel kind of like, seriously, I don't know how to do this. I don't have any experience in art. They would feel defeated pretty quickly. And I realized that very early on, and I thought, okay, what are gonna be some pieces and some designs that are gonna be easy to replicate, and that are gonna be easy for them to make, where they're gonna feel empowered from the start, and they're gonna be able to see their pieces getting made quickly, and they're gonna be like, wow, that's actually really good. I made that. I can't believe I made that. And so we realized slab work, which is what this is called, was gonna be the best for them in that case. And so I always tell people it's like rolling out, biscuits. Everybody's rolling out cookie dough, everybody's rolling out biscuits. It's basically the same concept, and then we try to do really simple designs that are easily replicated, so that they feel empowered when they're making the pieces, and not like, I'm never gonna be able to accomplish this, I can't make this happen. Because they're already coming from a place where they're, in a lot of ways in life are feeling defeated, and we wanna make sure they feel empowered here. So that's why we have created sort of really simply made designs that are easily replicated.
Absolutely. We use doilies for all our patterns. So what we do is we put the doily, get it nice and even on there. We're gonna roll over it a few times, make sure it gets nice and in there so can show up.
Did y'all come up with this pattern of using a doily to?
Yeah, early on I did, because I realized, again, if we're painting designs on, you have to have artistic ability to be able to paint little designs on pieces. So what's gonna be something that's gonna be really pretty, but it's really easy to do. And it's kind of deceivingly easy, because we've had people say, wow, do you sit and carve all those little pieces? I won't tell you our secret, but no, we do not. So it's easy to get something that looks really beautiful and has some different texture and all those things. And so that's kind of where we started with the doilies, and we've just kind of gone from there. Always used them, and it's fun because we can use custom. You know, we've had a lot of people say, I'd love to use my daughter's lace from her wedding dress to make a platter that's just for her. Or my grandmother made doilies, and it would be so special for my family to have a piece with her doily and all of, in platters for Christmas. And so we can do custom stuff like that, which is fun. But we try to keep the patterns, pretty much the same doily for every piece, and so that they're consistent. But it just makes it pretty but easy and easily replicated.
Yes.
Yeah, so you can see some of the works in progress here, what it looks like coming out, which is fun and makes it, more interesting and a unique piece for every person. And that's really cool for a bride to bring lace from her dress and choose a platter, whatever size, or some kind of special design, and lace from her gown then becomes a keepsake item that she has forever.
I mean, I did it for my wedding. I gave it to my mom and my mother-in-law, and they loved it. So then we use these molds. We have molds for every piece so that it dries in, this soap dish form. Same thing with all of our platters. Everything has molds except for our ornaments, which just lay flat. But that's why we don't do a lot of bowls. A lot of people say, I would love a big old bowl. Well, it's hard to make a huge bowl from slab pottery. Especially if, you gotta be able to roll out a huge piece of clay, and then you've gotta be able to set it in a bowl form really well. So the biggest bowl we do is, if you can see up in that corner, that, we call it a blossom bowl. That's about the biggest thing we can make, and it be good quality and consistent. So we don't do huge pieces here. We kind of stay in the smallest range. That platter's the biggest platter we do. So it's just so that we can make sure our quality is always good.
Yes.
So once you're at that point,
Yes.
it's done.
You have to trim it to make it fit, and then you kind of push it down to make sure it fits the mold. We like to say they party sometimes. When they start to dry, stuff will kind of flare up, and we have to make sure we're consistent in going back and pushing things down and making sure that they're correctly in the mold, or especially making ornaments or pendants, because then they won't sit right, and then we just want to make sure everything's consistent and looks, even though no two pieces are the same, at least make them consistent enough to, absolutely. So we cut around the edges and make sure it's nice and fit, and this will dry for about 24 hours until we come back tomorrow, and then once it's dry, you can see they're loving. So we like to say, like how God loves our rough edges, we're gonna love the rough edges off of the pottery. And once it's loved, we put it on that cart, and it goes back in the kiln, and we load a kiln and fire it to be painted.
So if you're familiar with, I don't know who's familiar with pottery here, but love is not a term you use in pottery. So a lot of people are like, what does that mean? Technically it's no, you're right, that's what we call it here. Technically it's called refining pieces. You refine them, you fix the edges. But when I started, I really liked the thought of we're showing love to all of these pieces, just like Jenna said, God loves our rough edges. We're gonna love each one of these pieces of pottery. So we love everything here. And so all the women, if there's a technical pottery term, we probably don't use it here. We just kind of come up with our own. But we really like the thought that every piece is getting loved on by these women, just as these women are getting loved on by us. So, all right, we're gonna move into the, Jim and Catherine, can you lead them into the room where the painting is happening, and we can show them? Like I said, one of our 8 different colors. Mary right here is painting soap dishes, like what Jenna just made, so you can see the example. Everything gets painted probably 3 or 4 coats, and they show a lot of love in the painting process too, We try to make sure everything's got straight strokes. We make sure all the edges are covered, and it's a lot of work, right, Mary? But yeah, but you do it beautifully every day. And so this is where we paint all of our pieces, and then like I said, once they've been painted, they go back in the kiln for one more firing, and then when they come out, you can see we have all of our pieces over there. So before we move in, does y'all have any questions about the pottery making process, or how? Yeah.
Sorry, how do y'all decide what glaze you're gonna use?
So we have 8 different colors, and it's based off of our orders. So if we're backstocking pieces, we just try to make sure that we have a quantity equal for each color. Some colors are more popular than others, so we always want to make sure we have more of those ones. But then a lot of pieces are, like I said, made to order. So we know, like, okay, we've got an order for 75 sea spray soap dishes, and so we make sure that those get painted first before we do any backstock items.
And we've experimented with a lot of, I'll give you a break for a second.
Thank you.
We've experimented with a lot of colors along the way. You've probably used 12 or 15 different colors through the years. One time, I think we tried to serve 12 different colors, and we can't serve that many, too many colors and too many items. So you know, you have 60 or 70 or 80 items, and then you have colors, you know, then that just gets exponential. So to make it manageable, we have settled on what are the 8 best-selling colors, and not to say that one day you might not use another color or try another color, but we've settled on these 8, but you're always coming up with new designs, like the Blossom Bowl, the mini Blossom Bowl, and the large Blossom Bowl is a relatively new item. Or any custom item that somebody might dream up, Jamie will say, let me see if I can do that. You know, the Karen order was 3 items, but those were 3 items that we were sort of already doing, and then we're specializing, we're customizing it according to what they want on it, which is great. You know, we do that with Etsy orders also. That's not our, you know, that's not our most efficient way to fill orders, but if you want a onesie, you know, we're gonna fill that for you if we can. So we try to do any of those kinds of things that we can, like early on, you know, Coach Saban wanted a Roll Tide mug, and Jamie figured out how to do a Roll Tide mug. You know, that other university hasn't participated yet, but we'd love to. And we do sell War Eagle mugs.
Yes, we do.
So Jamie's a graduate of Auburn, as is Jim. So.
We unfortunately sell a lot more Roll Tide mugs, especially after last season.
For some reason, that's right. So those are the kinds of different things. Even, you know, tell them about Zuckerberg Foundation and.
Yeah, we've had some really exciting orders that have been really big boosts, I think, for the women. Like the Chan Zuckerberg Foundation, which is you know, Facebook, their foundation, where they give from, ordered some custom mugs from us, which was really shocking, and it was actually a really cool opportunity because they're a very secular organization, and little did they know they were supporting a very Jesus-centered organization. So it's kind of cool how the Lord works like that. He was like, "Oh, you want to? Okay, yeah, you're going to support this ministry that's trying to show these women Jesus," and they reordered. So that's been really exciting. Yeah, we've had a lot. Kate Hudson ordered Christmas gifts from us one year, which was really fun and crazy. And you know, how these people find us is totally the Lord. It's, you know, we don't market well at all, trust me. So I don't know how it happens, but it's been a cool thing to get to watch how the Lord just orchestrates a lot of really fun orders for us. Warren Averett, I don't know if y'all are familiar with Warren Averett, such a great company, and they ordered thousands of Christmas gifts from us last year, which was huge for our organization. It was huge for us, and such a gift. And so they gave all of their gifts from Prodigal Pottery to their customers last year, or to their clients. So that was a really fun order. So we've had a lot of really
yeah. So we love corporate gifts. If you can open any door there.
If you know anybody who needs corporate gifts, we would love to be able to make those.
That's right. And they are great gifts for, you know, a corporate entity and other ministry partners. Tell them a little bit about, you know, Texas Connection, some of the other.
Yeah, we have a lot of ministries that we've met who are also social enterprises employing women or people in need. And it's been a really cool sort of network of different organizations that really want to support each other, sell each other's products. And so we have a ministry in Texas called Mercy House Global. They employ teen moms off the streets in Kenya. In Kenya, if you become pregnant, a lot of times these teen girls are raped and become pregnant, and they are then cast out by their families. They're not welcome to be in their families if they're become pregnant, and they are living on the streets. And so this ministry goes out and they rescue these girls off the streets, and they have a maternity home for them. where they provide care long-term for these teen moms. And then they make jewelry that they sell. We have some of the jewelry in our gift shop, so we can show you that later. But we've been able to partner with them a lot. They've ordered thousands and thousands of pieces from us, which has been a huge gift. And then we, in return, have something called the Hope Box, which is a monthly subscription box that we do. It's $35 a month. And it's one of our pieces, or two of our pieces, combined with 3 other ministries that are giving back. So every ministry, a part of the box, has some sort of give back model that we really love to support. And so that's been a fun way to get to support other ministries as well. And they support us in return. So it's fun to get to do that.
So we view it all as kingdom work. Even we started, you'll see, we'll point it out when we walk through the next couple of rooms, but another local ministry that has special needs adults that pour candles, and so we're now making pottery for them to pour candles into, and then we share dollar for dollar everything with that ministry, to help them. So, we just view it all as kingdom work. We're not trying to make money off their wax. We just want to partner with them for kingdom work.
Yeah, we're really excited about this new candle line, so that'll be fun.
And by the way, the lady that runs that has a special needs child and used to be house parents here, so that's a nice connection.
Yeah, and I have a special needs child, and so it's been really special for me to get to work with them, and they've been huge and loving on me in the process too, because I'm newer to I have a almost 2-year-old who has special needs, so it's been really cool to get to partner with these other organizations who really, their heart is for the kingdom, and ours is too, and so that's what we care about. So, do you have any other questions about the process, and then we'll keep on moving? I know it's a lot to take in. Okay.
Go first.
Yeah. So this is where we keep all of our pottery inventory, and our goal is for this to be like just busting at the seams, so that when orders come in, we can just send them out, like, turn them around super quick. As you can see, we're pretty low right now because we keep getting inventory, and then we keep getting orders, which is the hope. I mean, that's what we want. But wholesale for us exploded in 2020, which was a huge shock because of COVID. We thought there's no way that we're going to have a good year. And then our wholesale site, we started on a new wholesale site, and all of a sudden we're getting hundreds and hundreds of orders. And so I looked on there the other day, we've had 462 different stores order from us just in the last year, which is amazing. Yeah, it's a huge gift. But it makes it really hard to keep these back stocks because we sell out really quickly, which is exactly what we want, but we want to be able to have enough. Like I said, if we're more efficient, we've got more back stock, we got more orders coming in, we get more stuff out quicker.
And we don't have all the right equipment and shelving to do that. As you can see, I mean, we're good stewards with all of our equipment, but it's not the most efficient to have this kind of folding table, because it'd be more efficient to have a rolling table where we could roll some of this around and not break, and have the right kind of shelving even in here. I mean, we're gonna use what we have, obviously, but a lot of this space could be, in every room, could be more efficient, and we could backstock more if we had the right setup, which we don't have today, but we're making do. But that's part of what your grant would go for. And when we're able to do that, then that's more jobs for the moms. That's more ministry going on. That's more hope for every mom that comes here. So here's an example of some of the candle things that we're pouring with, what's the name of?
Community Naturals.
There you go.
But like these shelves right here, these were in an old a room here that was a library. So those are library shelves. They're not deep enough for pottery. I'm always worried things are gonna like slide off the edge. There's also a ton of unused space. So, but we, do what we can do with what we have, and we're very grateful for what we have.
So we would replace that, make it more efficient, be able to get, use the cube better, because we can't do that currently. So we can backstop some things, but we can't backstop like we need to be able to fill 400 and something different wholesale accounts that are now coming in, that is completely different from 18 months ago. What a blessing, we love that. So God's favor for sure, because there's been, as we all know, lots of negatives with COVID, but positives too. When things like that happen, that have blessed our moms there.
So this is, once we get an order in, then I've got a team, Amanda, I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Amanda, I'm the business development manager.
So Amanda right here is our business development manager. She does all of she works tons of shows, and she does all of our website orders.
And a
So
love lady
non-wholesale.
graduate, we're so
Yes,
proud
I'm
of you.
Yes,
Lovely.
love lady graduate. So Amanda's in here just filling orders from the weekend. But at Christmas, this room is filled. I mean, there's orders in every surface. Years ago, we would, in our old studio, we would sit on this carpet and we would have like 75 orders laid out on the ground. And we would just like crawl around and pick one up at a time. So, I mean, we're thankful to not be there anymore, but it still gets pretty nuts. You know, this is just from one weekend, but at Christmas, we'll get 150 orders in a day. And so it just, you know, it gets pretty crazy. And in here, there's, you know, again, like we would love some more tables like this that roll. Our peanut dispensers, like we use peanuts like you wouldn't believe. And so again, efficiency would be, you know, even more efficient in here would be awesome to have. So that when it's our craziest time of the year, we can get things out quick. And, you know, normally if it's from July to December, this room is filled with pottery and people packaging all day long. So if anybody ever wants to come and package some pottery,
Yeah, I can
we'll
imagine
invite
during-
you.
During Christmas time, we would have every available table space to lay out orders and prepare them to be packaged. So, like she said, this is just one weekend.
So during those busy times, do you have volunteers come help them pack them, or how do
We
you
have,
do that?
we have not, no, normally what we like to do is if we have the job, we want to employ that woman. So we love when volunteers want to volunteer, but we're never gonna take a job away from a woman for a
Gotcha.
volunteer. So it does make volunteering, you know, there are certain things that the women aren't able to do
Oh, sure.
that we love to have volunteers for, but when it's something that can be done in the studio, if there's a woman that needs a job, we're gonna provide the job. So that's always our hope.
And even simple things, and we've had a shipping expert that came and volunteered his time to help us think through some of this process. And if we were able to buy, you know, better bulk quantity of all of these items, you know, that would help Prodigal Pottery be more efficient, be able to, you know, save some money here to be able to pay, because as y'all know, I mean, labor is expensive, and we want the moms to earn, you know, as much as we can, you know, as much as they can. So, and even the boxes, you know, we want to buy the corrugation in bulk. And right now, we're not able to do that without, you know, the right kind of setup and the right kind of fixturing and using the cube like we need to use it. And we need to repurpose a room over here that is sort of a cleaning room now, but could be a storage room to be able to do that. So that's how, you know, this grant money would help us in all of these different ways, get us where we need to be able to do all of these multifunctional kinds of things, which is going to be such a blessing. So.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to, we have a beautiful back porch back here. We're gonna move on the back porch and share a little bit more and have Jenna share some of her story. And so if you wanna lead them out there, Lou, and I'm gonna go grab them.
That's beautiful. You better pull it up. It's so pretty.
Been here now for almost 3 years. And she's our wholesale manager. So when she started, she lived at the King's Home for, were you there for a full 2 years?
Almost, about a year and 8 months.
Okay. And so she's gonna share a little bit of her story, and she just really, I can say, without a doubt, is a huge light in the studio and has been a huge gift to the other women. And so that's something that we love to foster here, is what we call survivor leadership. That she's a survivor a lot herself, but now the Lord has equipped her to be a leader in the studio and to love on these other women who have been through who've walked what she for me, I don't come from the background that a lot of them come from. And so I'm able to love them and love on them and show them Jesus as much as I can, but I don't understand the nitty-gritty and all of what it's like for them to be in the places that they've been in. So I've always loved to have other women who have walked the same road as them be empowered to then love on them in a way that I'm not necessarily capable of doing. And so Jenna is an example of that, and Amanda also is an example of that, and so that's why they're my two, right-hand people. When I go on maternity leave, I'm not stressed out about leaving this place in the hands of Jenna or Amanda, which I can't say that when I went on my first maternity leave. So it's a different case. But they're gonna do an amazing job, and she has just grown our wholesale. Like I said, last year, we had almost 500 new accounts, and I can really contribute a lot of that to Jenna and her hard work, so. Okay, I'm really cheers for it.
Thank y'all for being here, and I always love getting to share my story just because there's healing in it every time I get to share it, and it also just to share what God's done in my life and what He's done in this place as well. A little bit of backstory. I suffered a lot of early childhood traumas. When I was 4, me and my mother got in a car accident and she passed away. Around the age of 8, I was molested by my older brother, and not having any coping skills whatsoever throughout any of this time. Not even sure what that is at the time. When I was 16, I was sexually assaulted by my then boyfriend, and then at the age of 17, through all this, I've become very promiscuous because at the time I didn't know that was a trauma response, but it very much is. And I started experimenting with drinking and doing recreational drugs, and through that I got pregnant at 17 and had my daughter, who is now 8. I have no idea about motherhood. It took a village to raise me, and so very much I did the best I can, but postpartum depression and unresolved traumas quickly catch up to me, and by the time I was 18, I started using opiates and anything at that time I could. I lost my daughter when she was around 9 months old because of that, and I would spend the next 5 to 6 years trying to get her back, and I couldn't stay sober. And in that time, I had my second child, who is 4 now, and once again, my addiction takes over, and I can't take care of him, so he gets taken as well. And in the midst of this, I don't understand the reality of really much anything, like the gravity of the situation. All I could think about at that time was the drugs. It had a hold on me like nothing else. And I grew up in church. I knew what was wrong and right. Every Sunday the doors were open, we were there. And so I was faced with a lot of shame and guilt because I knew right from wrong, and I couldn't understand how not to want to use the drugs and not want to steal and not want to lie. I didn't want to do all these things, but I knew I didn't know any other way to do it. So I was in active addiction for close to 10 years. It's a lot in like time. So in the process, I get a little bit of sober time underneath me, but I have no idea what recovery is. I just know how to not be sustained from it. I have no understanding of how God's working in my life, because by all means I should not be here today because of the situations I put myself in and the what comes with the territory of using opiates. And I meet who is my husband now, and I stay sober for a little while, but my maternal instincts are not stronger than my addiction. And if y'all, I'm sure some of you are mothers and you know how strong that maternal instinct is, that couldn't overpower it. And we date a little while and I relapse, and he's not an addict like I am, and he begs me to go to treatment. I won't go, so off he goes. And so I go on a really bad bender, we call it, I ended up homeless, living in the woods behind these people's trailers, and the only way I could eat was the people next door were hoarders, and they kept canned goods under their trailer. I don't know why, but they did. And I would crawl under the trailer, and I would get, the last thing I would ever get was a box of peanut butter Captain Crunch that was probably way overdue, and I ate it, because that's all I was willing to live like that if that meant I could get high, unfortunately, because I didn't know another way. I really felt stuck in that, and I found out that I'm pregnant again, and I couldn't stop using. About a week after I found out I was pregnant, I had what we call a foxhole prayer. I was gonna bargain with God and I hadn't talked to him in a long time. I was too ashamed to, because I didn't think I deserved that grace or that mercy that he gives us, and I didn't think I deserved another chance because I'd been given so many chances. And the reality is I told him I'm either going to get sober and we're going to have this baby, or I don't want to be here anymore. And he made a way. A week after that, somebody took me into their house and helped me get to the doctor's appointments, and they gave me an ultimatum. They said, you can either go to treatment or you can't live here. And so that was the start. You know, God laid a path out way before I ever got on it, and it took me a while to realize that. But I found out I was 6 months pregnant, and I was having a little boy all in one day. And I just remember the shame and guilt and remorse that filled me because, sorry, I thought that was a lizard. That filled me because, you know, I'm not, the idea of what a mother is, I was nothing close to it. And I get into a treatment center in Birmingham. If you're familiar with Alethea House, it's a treatment center for women who are pregnant or have children. And I completed their program, and I begged them to not send me home. I'm originally from Anniston, which is about an hour from here, and I knew that if I went home that I would relapse. I was not ready. And they called around and they found King's Home for me, and they said you can go to King's Home if they have a spot, and so they started the journey to get me to King's Home. So I left treatment on the treatment bus, got on the King's Home bus, and came here, and that's where the magic started to happen. I remember one of my first goals was to have my own cell phone because I'd never paid a bill a day in my life. I didn't understand how. And they helped me open a bank account, and then Jamie employed me, and I started out painting, and I just remember how therapeutic that was, and how, like, that she still loves on me, and I'm forever grateful for this place, because the life I have today is more than anything I could comprehend having. And I've started out painting, and then when Jamie went on maternity leave, I kind of got trained to do a lot of, to kind of do stuff that I normally wouldn't do, and I quickly just started doing that, and eventually I got offered the position of wholesale manager, and if you would have told me 7 years ago that I would be working in a pottery studio doing this, I would have laughed at you, because it is such a privilege and such an honor that I get to share my experience with ladies that just come in here that are walking the same path that I've already had to walk to get where I am. But I also have to remind them this, it's not of my own power. You know, God gives me the strength every day to get up, get dressed, get here, and very much speaks through me to them, because I don't have the right words to say. Because I just want to be that ship for him. But ever since, I'll celebrate 3 years of recovery in May on the 14th, and that's because of this place, I was able to buy my first house in May of last year, and I was able to save $10,000 while I was at King's Home, because of the job that I had here provided me with the income to be able to save money and still be able to take care of my children. I have my youngest son who's 2, but because of this place and the consistency and the foundation that Jamie's already laid way before I ever got here, I was able to walk and take time and heal, and if I needed to go to counseling, there's like the grace and mercy that is bestowed here is nothing like anything. And I was able to buy my first car here. Things that I never thought that I would have, and I know they're material, but they're things that it's just the mundane things that I would take for granted used to. And, you know, today I have a car and I have a house and I get to drive to work every day and I get to pay bills, and as unexciting as that is, I get to do those things that I never got to do before. And it's only because, you know, of the recovery program, the 12-step recovery program I do, and because of Jamie and King's Home, and because there's nothing like this anywhere else from where I'm from. And I've been able to help women get in treatment centers or get here because of the opportunity that they gave me. And I got to get married last year. You know,
Wonderful guy.
yes.
Wonderful. I can't say that every woman here dates a wonderful man, but Jenna has. Very proud.
He is. And you know, today I know that I'm worthy of all of these things. And because of the empowering and the loving that happened early on, I started to believe all those self-doubts that I had been telling myself for so long that I eventually believed because I thought it was true. And somebody that's, you know, coming from sexual abuse as a child and domestic violence and all those, you're told all the time that you're not worthy, you don't deserve this, nobody's gonna love you, and that flips when you come here. And it might take a little while to believe it, but eventually you do, and you start to regain that confidence back that was lost along the way. All while reminding these women that, you know, God is that, what, you know, it's what we need, and very much like Amanda does Bible study once a week. I don't know any other job that would do that, and I'm grateful that I get to do that today. And that, you know, God allows me to work here and minister to these women the best way that I know how to, because I'm not perfect by any means. I mess up daily, but and that He still loves me regardless of that, and that He loves all of us, and that's the best part. That's all I got.
I brag on that a lot, but I really also have to brag that, you know, we said that we have this partnership with the Well House and with Love Lady, which we love getting to do that. But Jenna, even without even my prompting, all of a sudden she's like, hey, I'm going to do this meeting at the Well House because they want me to lead. And she's very, very active in her recovery, and I'm super proud of her for that. She's very, very dedicated to her recovery and it being a long-lasting thing. And so she's very involved in AA and NA, and she went to Well House and she started classes for the women there. On her own with some of the leaders of Well House, has started these classes for these Well House women, and I just think, if that's not leadership, I don't know what is, and that's really amazing. So, you're a rock star. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Well, we'd love now to just, open any questions that y'all have for us, anything that comes to mind that we can answer.
I see hands coming.
Yes.
Is there a website or a brochure of all the choices?
Yeah, absolutely. So prodigalpottery.com, we have all of our, everything we sell
It's
online.
on the shade. Okay.
Yeah, and Jenna's gonna grab some too, and we'll have them in our little gift shop on the way out.
Yeah, so, yes.
On your website, does it show all the different places that people can buy Prodigal Pottery?
It does. There's a part on it that says where we sell locally, and then probably the easiest, because we sell it like Alabama Goods and Homewood. They carry a lot of our products. And there are stores around here and there, but not anybody carries our full line. Really, they kind of pick and choose pieces. Alabama Goods carries our full line. But you can always order on our website and pick up out here. I know it's far out here, but everything is available on our website.
And we also have a new ambassador program.
Oh yes, Catherine will let me share about that. We do. So I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Noonday collection. I'm sure a lot of you have been to Noonday shows, and we love that ministry too and what they're doing, and we kind of took a note from them and how they have ambassadors that sell their products for them that share the story. And so we have a program called the Ambassador Program where women or whoever, men, anybody that wants to be a part of it, can sell our products at shows, at home shows, at trunk shows, on now there's all these new online events since COVID happened. And they get a 25% profit from all the sales, and then the rest comes to us. So there is a benefit in doing it as an ambassador, but it's a great way to get to share the mission of what we do here and be a partner with what we do. But also, you get some from it as well, so that it's beneficial. We have, I think, it's not a huge program, but there's one really sweet lady in particular that she comes here probably every other week and visits us and sees us and picks up new product and goes and does shows, and I think it's just been a huge gift for her, but it also has been for us too, to know that she's invested in the way she is and is loving us, so, that's another option.
Yeah, what a blessing, I mean, they get to make 25% of the, of the sale of the, entire show, which is a blessing, because, we want it to be a blessing to whoever would participate as an ambassador, but it helps us too, and it helps us with word of mouth and, marketing out in the community and making people more aware of Prodigal Pottery and other states. It's not just in Birmingham, so, you can be an ambassador and live anywhere. Questions?
How many women do y'all employ presently?
Currently we have 12. Yeah, but, and it's a pretty good split. We have a lot of women from Well House right now. We just had, and like I said, it's interesting here because a lot of people ask how long do they work. It's a hard question to answer because sometimes they're pretty transient. So we'll have women who come here and they're at the home for a month or 2 months before they're able to get housing elsewhere, and we'll employ them for that short period of time, but then they're gone. And then there are some that stay for 3 years. We have one that's been here for 5 years. She's not here today, but we have some that like to stay long term, and we love that because then they get to stay in the community that we built here, and they have accountability. And for a lot of them, where they're still not quite ready to enter the world and the normal workforce, it's a great opportunity for them to get to stay here long term. So for us, it's not, they don't have to, if they have been residents of King's Home, Love Lady, and any above, they can stay working here. They don't, when they graduate, they leave, it doesn't mean their job's over here. They can continue to work as long as they need. But we always say that this is kind of a stepping stone. I know that 99% of our women don't see themselves making pottery for the rest of their lives. That's not the goal, but it's to equip them for what God has in store for them next. And that's something we really try to do with them is talk through, what do you feel like God's called you to? What do you feel like you're uniquely gifted at? How, can you translate that into a career? What do you want to do in the future? Can we help you get into higher education? A lot of our women are in school right now, so they're in school while they work full-time for us, or part-time for us, and eventually get those degrees and move on, and we're so excited when they do that. We know that that's what God has for them longer term. But we also do a lot of training for them that they might not get in another workplace. We work with Crown Financial Ministries. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Crown, but Catherine, who's the director in the Southeast, she's wonderful, and she comes out and does a financial training class for the women because a lot of them have no idea how to manage their finances. Like Jenna said, I pay bills and I'm gonna pay bills. That's how a lot of them are. They don't understand how to manage those finances. And that's incredibly important for their success long term. So that's been huge and very eye-opening to see a lot of the questions asked during these financial training meetings. They're like, it's just like, wow, yeah, you need this. So.
And Jenna saved $10,000 because we, as part of the program, we encourage, since all the moms are living at King's Home at no cost, that they would save 75% of what they make. So, we help, Jenna, encourage Jenna to say, save 75% of what you make, because this is your nest egg, and it really worked, right?
Absolutely, it's very goal oriented as far as we're gonna do these goals and we're gonna report every month how much we're saving. And I've never saved that much money, but it was enough money for me to put a down payment on a house and to get the house furnished, and enough money to get a better car than the one I had. So absolutely.
So that's how we, sort of holistically help all the women in the program, not only spiritually, which is the most important, but, they need all these other practical things to be successful later in life. And even in some parenting areas, Jen will probably share some of the ways that we help, just through encouragement, in parenting areas. So, we're here to stand in the gap in any way that we can. And, what my heart is, whether we got the grant or not, is that you would see that God is making an eternal difference in so many women's lives, and that's the most important thing. Yeah, we need a lot of money to help, run this program and make it better and all that, but, it's just like we said earlier, it's all kingdom work, and that's the amazing thing about 100 Shares is, gosh, I just got a glimpse last year of how y'all helped so, ministries that need it, and God leads y'all to who that is, and, I just think that's a beautiful thing, whether it's King's Home or not, because there's so many great needs
Well, the
in
grant,
Birmingham.
the 75,000, let's just bullet points of what you're asking for. I mean, 'cause there's so much, this has been incredible.
Right.
So much.
So a big piece of it was an additional position, additional part-time position, which y'all's grant allows for. The Keon was a big part of it. The equipment that we need, that we talked about in there, new lighting, that was a big part of it. The shipping and receiving part element of it, and being able to pour a pad and get a transfer truck in there so that we don't have to, the ladies don't go out there and offload a transfer truck of 2,000 pounds of clay, and boxes of glaze and boxes of mugs, 30-something boxes recently that they offloaded from the truck. That's where you're investing in Prodigal Pottery. But it's just the most important part is, Jenna's testimony, because the moms are here in a safe, loving, therapeutic environment to heal. And they have space to do that. And we see it every day with our teenagers, the same thing, because 98% of them have experienced really horrible abuse, the kind of abuse and trauma that Jenna has experienced. And so, how do you cope? Suffering abuse. And Jamie told a story at the coffee about, a mom in there right now, she working today. One of the moms that was abused, her stepdad started selling her out at 4 years of age until she ran away at the age of 15. And so, how do you heal from that? And how are you given space to heal from that? And when those flashbacks come and they need a moment, they can't get that in maybe a normal work environment, but they can get that at Prodigal Pottery. And Jamie's there to counsel with them, and then professional counseling if that's needed. And just
it's needed, yes.
yes,
For all of them,
yes.
Yes.
for me included, yes.
But that's how you're making an eternal difference in so many moms' lives. And you served how many moms last year? And since 2014, I think you've got close to that number.
Over 150
Yeah.
since we started, for sure. Last year, I think it was 40 plus, because again, very transient, so we have some that stay a long time, we have some that are there for a very quick moment. And that does make it makes it hard, because you want to see them succeed long term, and sometimes you leave after 2 months, you're not ready, girl, don't leave, but, that sometimes you have to get to hitting.
And sometimes they come back.
And sometimes they come back, yes, they do. But again, that's why our goal is, I think Alabama is one of the worst states in the country for chronic homelessness, which means that you're homeless again and again and again. We are great at having shelters. We're a great state when it comes to providing care, but we're not great at equipping people to stay off the streets long term. And so that's always been a part of my heart is, how do we equip them to stay off the streets long term? Because, we can provide housing all day long, and it's important. But if there's not a heart change, and if the Lord doesn't transform their life, then it's not going to last.
Yeah.
And so that's what we really try to do here too, is equip them for the long, long road, and not the, stay here for a minute, you're going to end up right back restarted. That's not what we want. So.
Yeah, healing takes time.
When did you start the pottery?
We started in 2014.
In 2014, and so you expect this to last a long time. I mean, this is your business for your women. I mean,
Yes,
other
that's what-
businesses other than pottery?
No, this is the only one here.
Okay, so it's a long-term deal.
That's what we hope, right? That is a very
Yeah.
long-term deal, yeah.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, I'd like for it to be self-sustaining. I'd like for Prodigal Pottery to be able to stand on its own Our goal is not to make, you know, a bunch of money off of handmade pottery that you've got a glimpse of. It's very beautiful, and you'll see it in the showroom, on display on your way out. You know, but, you know, we want to be there for see God change lives. And that's the most, that's the only reason Prodigal Pottery exists. And to also not be a drain on King's Home overall ministry. Our overall budget's about $9.5 million. And so that's a lot of money. So if Prodigal Pottery can just stand on its own and be able to invest back into the program, more jobs for women, and get to that level. That's, you know, I think that's going to happen this year. So we're excited.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
We're working hard.
And may have even gotten there last year if it hadn't been for COVID, but you know, being closed for almost 2 months, and then the uncertainty. So we had no backstop, you know, when we opened back up. Then we got flooded with orders, which was such a blessing. That was great. But you know, we didn't have the backstop to fill. You know, now we want that backstop. We're ready for that to be able to produce a lot of that backstop if we got the right setup in there.
Yes. Hey, if a company places an order like for a Christmas party for these pottery gifts and for the employees, how far ahead of time would you like to have that order?
That's a good question. It really
I'll let
depends.
Jane answer, then I'll answer.
It really depends on like quantity and what the piece is. You know, if it's custom, it'll be like, you know, at least 4 to 6 weeks so we know.
It would not be, I mean, everything would be the same.
Okay, so not custom pieces, and then it's just about the quantity. So it would just depend on what it was. Yeah, I don't think that's very
But if
helpful.
we could get to a week or two turnaround, then, you know, we would be able to, and we can do
The
that.
goal by Christmas is to do that now. It's very nuts.
But the only way to do that is to have the right kind of equipment, the right kind of shelving, have that backstock so that we're ready to fill those orders. So we don't have to say, oh, it's 4 to 6 weeks, because we're not starting from scratch. We already have it. You know, Jim, now if it's a custom piece, I think people are going to understand, oh, custom piece. But even then, we should be able to turn around with the right kind of setup. We should be able to, and the right kind of, you know, production, labor. You know, we should be able to turn it around. Even a large custom order in a couple of weeks. Now, if it's 10,000 pieces like Karen, you know, thankfully they plan ahead too and know that kind of order takes time. But you know, we've had conversation with home goods. Well, you know, they're not patient. They're not going to wait for 4 to 6 weeks. You know, as a chain, even if they're just testing 10 stores, they're just not going to wait 4 to 6 because that shelf can't sit empty. That buyer has to fill that space. You know, they're not going to be patient, and they shouldn't. That's not how a chain operates.
So you probably do prefer like the company orders for Christmas or whatever?
Oh, we do. Like Warren Acres was such a blessing last year because that sort of got us through last
Yeah,
year.
we love those.
It was a 900 piece.
But we always love it when people care about the mission too. I think that's another thing that's hard with these chains is they don't care about our story. I mean, that sounds bad, but they don't. They care about profit. We love working with stores when they love the mission and that they get to share the mission. Because to us, that's just the kingdom getting out to more and more people.
But even Altered State, I mean, they're mission minded, you know, and you know, they're a good organization, but you know, we've struggled to get in the door there just because, you know, 60, 70 stores, and we can't build that right now with that kind of turnaround.
So are you at full capacity now? We could probably have 15 easily. 20 would be it would be hard to have 20 women in here at once and feel like we weren't like, you know, elbowing into each other.
But we would expand if we, you know, if we knew we had the funding to do the things that we need to do, then, you know, Jamie and I have already talked about, we'll expand in here if we need to. We sort of keep this room open because we call this our community room. It's really the only place that we have as a ministry. Even the church is going to start meeting in here because we like to be good stewards of, you know, in our beautiful chapel across the way, we have a church that meets in there on Sunday, and we feel like, oh, that's being such good stewards. We're gonna have Grace Presbyterian is gonna start meeting in here 1st of May on, I don't know what time, Sunday morning, I guess. We'll see tomorrow.
Well, I mean, like, full capacity as far as, are you producing everything that you can produce right now, and you need more equipment to produce more, or
Yeah,
you
exactly.
still have a little leeway now?
So
I mean, like, we could give you orders, can you? Yeah.
No, so we would need the extra kiln capacity.
So you're at full capacity for
Pretty
the
much,
orders you
yeah,
have right
yeah.
For 2 kilns, that's right.
And,
One that's scheduled.
also it's
One
hard
is
because
sketchy.
personnel, you know, like we need to be able to produce quicker and get more orders to be able to
Well, there's
handle
nothing
it.
worse than having orders and not being able to fill them, so you don't wanna go ask for orders.
Exactly. This is gonna sound terrible, we don't want more orders.
Right, that's what.
I wish I could say, yes, oh my gosh, we want
Yeah.
so many of them. But
But for, you know,
sometimes
shipping
I get a huge wholesale order and I'm like, oh gosh, no.
You know,
Yeah, that's terrible, but it's what we want
Yeah.
to be able, but what we wish is that we had the kiln capacity and the amount of women, that it would be easier to knock it out quick, you know what I'm saying?
But all that's gotta work together. I mean, shipping and receiving's gotta work to be able to produce more, to provide more jobs. So, you know, it's almost chicken or egg. You know, all of that, we're at that sort of critical point where all of that has to begin to work together. Shipping and receiving's gotta work to be able to get more out, to produce more jobs, and to be able to backstop what we, you know, so all of that right now has to, because it's worked really beautifully, and still does, but we keep getting more demand and 10,000 piece orders, and so we're to that point. All of this has got to work together so that, you know, we can be as good as God wants us to be, really.
So how did you get to your 75,000? Like, why didn't you ask for more?
I love it.
Great question.
A little bit greedy. But, you know, okay, so, you know, having got a glimpse of the asks from last year, in my mind, it was like, gosh, there's so many great ministries in Birmingham, and y'all help so many, you know, wonderful folks, and you know, it's almost like, you know, we need to spread it around. So, you know, I would almost feel guilty in a way,
Shouldn't feel guilty.
you know, and that's just because that's just sort of my heart, you know, to me, like I said, I've said it so many times, it's just all kingdom work, and I want to see other ministries be successful too, and that's why we have Well House Women, that's why we have Love Ladies, that's why we do the Candle, and we do Caring, and we do Mercy, and, you know, we love partnering, you know.
Well, I even love getting to talk to the women of Life on Wheels, because I got to talk to them afterwards, and she said, would you ever hire if I found a woman that needed a job when she's on the streets, and, you
And
know.
she's already called.
And
We've
I
already
said,
talked to her
yes,
a lot.
send
The
me,
lady-
send them, I would love to hire them. You know, so that was, and then us equally saying, if we have women who are in need of maternal care, like, would you take them? Yes, you know, so that, it was cool to get to, you know, we want to partner with people like that.
Yeah,
so.
she called the next week, and it was, you know, the mom was not clean. So to enter our program, just like Jenna did, Jenna got clean, came to King's Home. So she got clean in Alethea and then came here. Same for this mom. So we, you know, found short-term shelter, and then once they get clean, they can come here. But you gotta, you know, be clean to come to King's Home, and gotta stay clean.
Jamie, tell them about the partnership with other, like the box that y'all do every month. The
Oh, I
subscription.
mentioned that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
But if we need to find it.
yeah. And can they see an example in there?
Look.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There's one.
I ordered online last week and knew I was coming here, so I said.
That's very sweet.
Okay, so 9 minutes left. Can we show you the retail store on the
While
way
we're all
out?
sitting here, can we just take a minute and pray for y'all? This has been an incredible morning, and God clearly was
Beautiful
here.
day.
He shined on us, and it's been such a treat for me to step away from everything that's going through my mind this morning. I know every one of you came in here with things on your mind, and just to sit here and be with you and the entire ministry and just absorb y'all has been such a gift to all of us, I know. So Amy's going to just close this time in prayer, And of course, we are very eager to go check out the retail shop. And then from 100 Shares aspect, if you would like a evaluation sheet just to share your comments, a hard copy before you leave, you can get it from Amy or from me, or we will also send you a link. So that's the only other business we have to conduct. So y'all can walk to the retail store, and then you're free to go or stay or ask more questions or whatever. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Like Amanda said, this is just such a beautiful day. Thank you that, Father, your presence is so manifest in every little part, nook and cranny in this building, Father, and we pray that you would continue revealing yourself. God, thank you for Jenna and Amanda and the other women and the miracles that they are. God, and we ask that you would keep doing that. God, that you would keep bringing women here, Father, who can experience your love, who can experience your healing, Father, who can have the support system they need to be able to walk with you and to express and share and be just a trophy of your grace to the world. Father, I pray for your protection over Jenna and Amanda and the other women here. God, that you would continue ministering to them and strengthening them as they need to be strengthened. We thank you for Lou and Jamie and all the other staff here and ask that you would give them wisdom. And Father, while we're here, God, is for this grant request. God, we pray for every single penny that they need for this $75,000 grant request and other money that they can use and need above that, God, for whether it be shipping and receiving to paper clips and staples. God, you know their needs, and we ask that you would provide every single penny, whether it be through 100 Shares or through another means. God, we are trusting you to provide for Prodigal Pottery, God, and let this to be a light in a very dark world. Thank you that we get to witness it a little bit today, and that we will walk out of here blessed. And I pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
That would be a great opportunity.
Do you want me to hang on to this, or can you?
Everything